Yada yada yada. Spaghetti, spaghetti, spaghetti. Bibbidi. Bibbidi. Is that really how it be? When you bibbidi? Oh yo. Oh yo. It's kind of weird. Like the I mean, it's my podcast. My podcast. Brown. Man, what the spaghetti roar? Roar. Hello. Um. Hello, everybody. How are you? How's it going, my sweet little cherry pies? Hello. Yeah. Hello. Oh my gosh. Welcome to my podcast. Welcome back to Within the Flesh, everyone. Ooh, you're in the flesh. Oh. Welcome. It's good to see you. Hello, everyone. I decided to do this podcast a little earlier than I would usually. Because I'm already feeling pretty sleepy and I don't want to get to the point where I'm like, and you know what I mean when the little man goes crazy, you know? I try and do these podcasts a little bit when I'm what is it? When I'm not really doing anything, you know, when it's just me, podcast, you know, but right now I'm actually also editing together a thumbnail for one of my streams. It's Civilization 6. That's right, baby. Re 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 re. So yeah, I might be a little bit distracted, but that's okay. Maybe it'll do the opposite effect, where I'm so freaking, my brain is so active that I'm able to channel it and have a fantastic time, you know what I mean? No, no. Yeah, I guess it's whatever. Let me take a drink of my water. Delicious water. I love water so much. It's kind of weird. Is I don't really know too many women in my life, but a lot of the women that I have asked, I'm like, oh, yeah, I like me some water. They've been like, ugh, water. That's disgusting. How can you drink that? I've always just been so dumbfounded. Like, what? What do you mean? What do you mean? How can I even drink water? It's fucking water, bro. What do you want me to do? Die? You know what I mean? Um, I don't know. There's very interesting differences between a man and a woman. It's very like I don't know. I learn new stuff every day, and I think if you don't learn something new every day, then what's even the point? You know, what's the point of living? What's the point of being epic? You know what I mean? I like learning every day because it allows me to understand something that I probably didn't before. You know? And it's very. I learned like a weird fact because I watch YouTube shorts. You know, I'm a late, or I guess I'm an early Gen Z, so I'm not always on it. But when I'm in bed trying to go to sleep, I'll watch some YouTube shorts. And there was like one where there was a woman like, "Oh, please don't make any crying sounds," you know, because my breasts will lactate. And I was like, "What? What is this? What is this spaghetti?" It I don't know, it was very interesting to learn that some women, I guess either after pregnancy or I don't know, I didn't really go in depth into it. I didn't Google it and be like, let me make sure this is all factually correct. It was something like, you know, women, if there's like a baby crying kind of sound, some women they will lactate. It's just like a natural response. That's very interesting to me, you know, because it's not something that's physical, you know. It's not like uh a pheromone or something else like that. I don't want to be like one of those types of people, you know, that's like, oh, if I just spread my pheromone everywhere, obviously women will like me more. I don't know if you've ever seen one of those people. I do think smells do play a part in people choosing who they want as uh, as a mate, you know, as a breeding material. No, as someone who they want to be in a relationship with, but I don't think that's like a main factor. I think it'll play some part into it, but I don't think it's like the end all be all of uh things. But like, I I try and like, I don't want this to be the main topic of the video, you know what I mean? We're gonna have to put into the YouTube title uh something like mating responses or something like that. I don't know. No, but I'll wrap it up. I'll just say that it's very interesting that that happens to women when they hear that sound, because it's not a physical or pheromonal kind of change. There's not really a chemical in the process, you know what I mean? It's just like sound, and it's like you know, it triggers a reaction that isn't really fueled by emotion, you know what I mean? At least I don't think it is. I don't know. um let's talk about Blender. How about Blender? How about art in general? I have been uh kind of improving. You know, how about we talk about Blender and then I'll talk about myself. Talk about the improvements. Someone on my Discord, uh, Melissa, I have this thing on my Discord server called a forum, right? And it's kind of like Reddit. It's like all those other things where you can make a topic and then people can go into it and talk about it, you know? And I love that idea because it's like, oh, people can like post their interest, or they can post about something they want to ask, and then people can go in and talk with each other. But then I realized that's not the kind of community I have. I have a bunch of like the weird type of people in my server. People that don't really want to connect with each other, and it kind of makes me sad, you know. I really wish people would um not saying I have to be the attention person all the time, but I'd like it if people could also find a little bit of interest in each other. You know what I mean? Be like, oh, well, that's interesting. That's cool. I mean, sometimes I see that. Sometimes people will just be talking about video games and life in general and all that, which I can appreciate. I just wish they used the forum more, because that'd be cool. That'd be cool to see people using it, making use, and be like, "Whoa, look at this." Anyways, sorry, I got a little bit off topic, but one of the users I have on there, Melissa, she posted, what's one positive and one negative thing that happened in your life, and while I feel like the my previous group kind of drama just never goes away. I don't know if it's the people I surround myself with, because I know some of them are also part of that previous group, which I don't mind myself. It's perfectly fine. I feel like if you try and control someone and be like, well, you can't hang out with them, then I don't think you're a very good friend in general. You know what I mean? Um, but it's like, I don't know. There's just more and more drama stuff that happens or is brought up, and it's like I just can't really understand why it just doesn't go away by now. Like I've cut connections with the people I don't want to talk to anymore, and there's people who have cut connections with me because they don't want to talk to me anymore. I think that's fine. I'm perfectly okay with it. You know, there's a big difference between holding a grudge, and being able to accept what has happened and to move on from it. Um, I feel like I have moved on from it for a while now, but there's an exterior force kind of drumming up the drama again or bringing it back in. And I don't know what exactly is causing that. No. I'm not one of the type of people to be like, oh, well, remove all things that cause you stress out of your life. You know what I mean? If someone else is also having issues with, the group drama and stuff like that, I want to be there to be like, well, let's figure it out. But I don't know if it's like someone or something, but it always gets brought back up. And I know I'm gonna contradict myself because I just said I'm ready to move on. I'm at the phase where I'm ready to move on. You know, but it still does hurt a little bit. I may have moved past it, but there's still a little bit of remnants. A little bit of feeling still left in there that remembers the good times and how they can't happen anymore. But um, that's the thing I put down for the negative. It was that things like that just keep getting brought up, and you know, there's. I feel like it's been way overdue to just move on from it. But the positive thing that I put was that I feel like I have improved my relations, the way I am, and the way uh, I have done my art as well, which I think was just a little bit of a flourish onto it to not make it sound too sappy or uh, I don't exactly know the term for it, but when you have two opposing things within the same sentence. I don't know if that's just coincidence or I don't know what you would call it, but it's like when you say um I ate because I'm happy and I am happy because I ate or something like that. Like it's just a flip-flop. But um yeah, I myself feel like I have vastly improved, and I think what helps the most is these podcasts. I think from my perspective, my idea was that it was going to be, both sides are kind of getting the help they need with this podcast. But I think with the people I invite on, it's more of me helping them, which I'm fine with. I don't think a lot of people want to help each other. Maybe I'm being too much of a little narcissist and being like, I provide so much more help than everyone else. I'm sure I'm looking past points where I myself was given good information or good, what is it? A good suggestion during the podcast, but I do feel like it is mostly me helping the people that I bring on to it. And, I'm perfectly fine with that. It doesn't always have to be me or about me. And, in a silly way, it doesn't always have to be my podcast, my podcast, I think it's okay to examine other people and see exactly what afflicts them, you know? I think that's all right. I think it's nice to offer that to people, but I will say, I think the solo podcast is where I really feel good. You know? It's kind of like when someone's all like, "Oh, you need to keep a dream journal or something like that," or just a journal in general. You know? It's kind of like those movies where they have like the girl in her pink little outfit and her pink bed and fluffy everything and all that, and she's on her stomach, just laying on her bed, writing into her diary, and she's like, "Dear diary, today Jason looked me in the eyes." I kind of feel like that's how I am on here. I'm just I'm sitting in my computer chair. I'm drinking water. I'm just my eyes are kind of gliding over the screen every now and then. Um, and I'm just talking into a microphone. It just feels good, It feels good to kind of release this out somewhere. Feels like, what is it? Instead of holding it in, I'm able to release it, and maybe someone out there is hearing it. Maybe someone's watching this. I I enjoy that. It I don't know. Like, can I be honest with you, listeners? Um, I feel like I'm like again. This would probably be a good time to have someone else on the podcast because you can never truly say something about yourself, unless it's factual. Like I have two eyeballs. That is a proven fact. I don't need someone else to tell me if I do or don't. But uh I might be a little brave to say that I feel like I'm a good listener. I feel like when someone asks me to listen, I am very good at listening. I'm not gonna be here and be like, "Oh, I'm the best all the time, 24/7." There are times when I'm just acting goofy, and I ain't got time to, listen. It's not so much time, but I'm just trying to have a good time. I sometimes, unless I'm explicitly told, like, "Oh, this is gonna be me talking about my dad being dead," or something like that. I just kind of want to have fun, but I'd say in general, I'm a pretty good listener, and I feel like this is a good way for me to get out the things I want to say. You know, like I don't know if that makes sense. I I guess it does make sense, but I don't know. Maybe I'm a little bit greedy because I already do have my stream where I just talk and talk and talk and talk and all that. But I think that's more of like an entertaining kind of thing. Like, people want to tune in to watch me scream at video games and be like, what the fuff? Spaghetti, I at least hope someone does want to see that. Um, but these podcasts are much more like me actually wanting to talk about my feelings, talk about how things are, and I feel. I mean, sorry, my cat's up on my desk and she's smashing her head into everything. She's like, "Give me attention." Um, but yeah, I think these help me with my self improvement. I think I have learned. I've read some comments. There's at least two people that I know that watch this and comment on the things that I talk about. Um, and you know, I read them and it makes me feel good to know that someone also is able to see what I'm talking about, and it feels good. Might be rambling a little bit. I'm sorry. I'm still trying to do this whole thumbnail while also having to pet a cat, while also having to talk on a podcast. But um, yeah. I guess to concrete the point that I'm trying to get across is that, you know, while it would be nice to have someone, I don't think I do well with other people listening to me. I think maybe I'm too judgmental. I'm not too sure about that one, but I know that I feel like I provide a lot more, a lot more help, you know, guidance to others than they do to me. And I don't think it's a lack of them doing it. You know what I mean? I think it's just me being like too snooty about it or something. It's kind of like I don't know. It it kind of just makes me sound like I'm one of those types of people that's like, I am such an A+ brain kind of man, you know. But I feel like not a lot of people understand what I'm talking about or how I feel. I know for certain my mom doesn't. Like I'll be like, "Oh, mom, I got anxiety, and is everything gonna be all right? I'm unsure about the future." She's like, "Why are you worried about that?" I'm like, I just, I feel frightened. What does the future hold? Is everything going to be all right? You know, and like I want to talk deep about it. Maybe resolve that. But she's like, "Stop worrying." It's like, oh, okay. Oh, I should have just tried that from the very beginning. Well, I feel like I don't know, maybe that's how some people also feel when I talk to them. Like I know that sometimes I can try and be like, "Oh, well, maybe the reason why you're feeling like that is because of this." Meanwhile, they're on like a completely different, field. They're like, "Dude, what the heck are you talking about?" I'm not even like, "What do you mean?" It might be because of this. I ain't even discussing that kind of stuff right now. I'm trying to think of a good example of how I've done something like that. Like maybe some people are like, "Oh yeah, I just I don't I don't feel good about uh myself." I'll just be like, "Well, I know that your family hasn't really been there for you. Maybe that's the reason why." And, it's like, dude, what are you talking about? I didn't mention anything about that. Maybe I mentioned like a little bit of that, but dude, where the heck did you get that point from? That doesn't make any sense. You know. um, but to go back to my original point, I feel like I don't really get the same kind of help. I find it hard to relate to people, and I don't know what that's about. Um, I know on my previous podcast episode that I kind of talked about autism and me not really understanding anything about it. And I feel like that would be like an autistic thing, not being able to relate to people or something like that. I find it a little hard to relate to others, but I don't think it's, autistic behavior. At least I hope it's not. I've also discussed my fears of autism. And how generalized it is, how anyone can pretty much have it at this point. You can go check it out right now if you want to. I believe it was Within the Flesh episode 10 is when I talked about autism. But um I don't know. It's hard to relate to people and you know, make a genuine connection, I suppose. I feel like I don't know. Hopefully someone else also has that kind of opinion. Of like, oh well, kind of hard to, you know, do any kind of opinion when you're having to deal with stuff like this, you know. Or I don't know what I'm saying here. Let's see. Oh, sorry. I'm checking out my stuff again. There's uh there's stuff I'm doing for the model. Sorry. It said that some of the stuff wasn't working, but okay. Anyways, what was I talking about? Yeah, not being able to relate to like I can understand people, I guess, but I just don't really deeply relate. But I don't think that's anything out of the normal, you know. I feel like a lot of people just aren't able to relate to what other people are saying unless they have a shared experience or are wanting to share that kind of experience with another. You know what I mean? Like I know me and Retrovin kind of have the shared experience of the past group, you know. Maybe he is also you know, the person that kind of brings it back because I know he is still struggling to work through those emotions. I know he feels a lot of anger towards the previous people that we used to hang out with. You know, he holds a lot of resentment and he feels like he's been betrayed practically. And I can understand that. That's kind of how I felt after my first ever group breakup. I at least was lucky enough to endure that when I was a small boy, so now I kind of understand how to distance myself. Whoa. um, but yeah, we kind of share that past group issues and all that, and I think it's kind of a good back and forth. You know, I'm able to tell him the things where he went wrong and where he was in the right. You know, he's able to tell me the same. Like, you know, it not to like really go back and dwell on the subject, but um you know, I towards the end of the first breakup of that group, uh you know, everyone just kind of acted weird to me. You know, it was very much like I kind of felt like I was being treated as an outsider of sorts, you know. It didn't feel good at all. And I didn't understand why uh it was like that, you know. But it turns out in the end it was because of me. It was all me, you know. And I fully acknowledge that and I accept that as well. You know, it's it was because I was being a big a-hole, you know, a real big asshole to everyone, you know, and I didn't ever suspect that because no one really told me, you know. And I know there's a lot of things that you are supposed to just be able to understand and be like, well, okay, you know, that makes sense to me. But for that, it didn't really make any sense. It's kind of like how people get into a role of like, oh, you're the dumb one, and I'm the snarky one, and I'm the sassy one over here. You know, people get into that role or that. Uh, I guess role would be correct. You know, because it's not like how that's how they are truly a dynamic. There we go. Dynamic. People get into that dynamic and you don't suspect anything until someone, you know, explodes on you or just, you know, suddenly leaves. You know, and it's things like that. that you know, I look back and I regret not taking action, and I can understand why people got angry or frustrated with me in my past because I just wasn't aware. But luckily, I learned. I don't know what really happened the second breakup, but just kind of seemed like everything got messy at that point. I know for sure, like absolutely, it was not 100% me. I can at least confirm that. You know, maybe there was some actions that I did that people didn't agree with. You know, I don't know entirely, but I know at least it wasn't 100% my fault in the end. But yeah, going back to uh, you know, me and Retro going back and forth and all that. I think that's been helping somewhat. I don't know how much it's been helping him. It kind of seems like he is going continuously into a deeper spiral. And I wish I had an answer or some kind of way to alleviate, some kind of uplift to it. But what I think it is truly is that I think he's stuck within his own mind. Because I don't think he gets up to much. I think the event has kind of shrouded every kind of relationship he has with other people in a bit of a cloud. He can't ever really trust others, or at least it's very extremely difficult for him to trust them. And, he kind of enjoys the same media as well, which I think, if someone continuously goes into it again and again and again and again, you kind of just you lose interest. You know what I mean? So I think kind of stuck in a feedback loop. There's no real escape from. But yeah, I think I don't know what made me get onto this topic. I know it was um something about retro. I'm not too sure. I really wish I could actually roll back what I what I was saying. Um, but I guess I'll just continue on, and I'll say that um, I actually feel like the people I have been around have uh really helped me improve my connection to others. You know, I kind of feel bad because a lot of the people in my life didn't even have that opportunity. You know what I mean? Like they didn't have the chance to get the kind of person I am now. That makes sense. Like I may not be 100% like super duper and all that kind of stuff, but I can at least say that um I'm a lot better. I feel like I've matured. Um, I kind of Oh, that's another thing to talk about as well. um just the utter repetition of the world and how much I hate it. But that's a topic for another time, or at least in a little bit. I'll 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 touch on that like a little bit, but uh yeah, the people around me have kind of encouraged me to be more open and to be more connected to others, which I actually, you know, I'm very happy with. I'm glad that they've somewhat inspired that. I feel as if the previous group I was in, you would be mocked for that, or you know, maybe seen in a lesser light, less favorable light. There we go. Which I don't know. I don't know if that's just how it was generally, or if someone kind of encouraged that behavior. but um, you know, I'm glad to be out of it. It was fun while I could be in it, but I'm glad I'm out of it. You know what I mean? You look past the good times and you see that maybe it wasn't as good. You know, not to be like, oh, it was horrible. I was truly oppressed. I was abused. You know, it's nothing like that. But it's more of like, you know, maybe the great times weren't as great as you remember because there was actually a lot of flaws within everyone that kind of arose and kind of makes the whole reason why there was a breakup in the first place obvious, you know. But uh, you know, I would say it's been hard for me to connect to people. Maybe that's the true reason why I find it hard to connect to people. You know, like I feel like people I see some people on my server, like they just start talking about stuff that they absolutely like I don't know, they just like someone will bring up something and they'll just start talking about it, talking about it. I'm like, what the how'd you do that? You know? Oh no, maybe it has to be something I show genuine interest or care for. You know? And maybe I don't have a lot of genuine interest or care. Maybe I have a very special amount of them, I suppose. But uh just people are able to connect so easily, I feel like. And I can't. No. I I'm one of those kind of people that likes to wear my heart on my shirt, you know? Or my heart on my sleeve, there we go. The correct one. Like it's like that, but a little bit of sugar on top is how I would describe it. I hope, at least. I feel like maybe in the past it was, you know, wearing my heart on my sleeve with a little bit of vinegar to it, in a way. Hopefully these are getting through to the rest of you. What I'm basically trying to say is that I may be very blunt and honest with people, but I feel like it's a lot more sweeter now, you know? If you're if you're acting like a goof, I'm gonna be like, yeah, you're being a little silly, a little biatch, you know. But I'm not gonna dog on you for it. I'm not gonna be like, you idiot, stop. That is incorrect behavior or something like that. Whereas I think past just the, you know, if you're goofing, it'd be like, why are you being stupid right now? I'm not sure I can say the word that I would usually say. It starts with an R and ends with arded, okay? But yeah. I think it's just because I try to be absolutely genuine. You know? I don't think there's any false kind of feelings. You know what I mean? There's no false feelings to be had. I would hope at least. I hope to never come out of left field with something for someone else. I feel like that's truly devastating. And also just very cruel to someone. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Maybe that's how I view things. I would rather have someone be very blunt, very honest with me. You know, maybe not cruel, not like harsh, you know, but at least be very blunt and honest with me about how you're feeling. That way I can understand truly, you know. If I'm saying spaghetti in a Discord call, right? And you don't like that, be open with me. You know? If if you genuinely don't like that, just be open and be like, "Oh, hey, that's, you know, I'm getting a little tired of spaghetti. You know, it's a little annoying." You know, and I'll be like, "Oh, okay. baba booey, you know. I'll move on to something else, but don't be fake about it. That's a big thing I don't like about people when they're fake and they don't tell you how they actually feel, you know? How are you supposed to guess? How are you supposed to be like, "Oh, well, I'm a mind reader. Let me go ahead and fix what you're having an issue with, even though you've given no signs and have not directly told me anything, you know?" um, yeah, I don't know. But that's just how I am. I know a lot of people aren't, and people. I think that's another thing. People don't have to be like me, you know. They don't. In fact, I think if people were like me, I'd probably hate them. I think that's the I think that's the honest truth. I would absolutely hate if they were me. It's not so much of like self-deprecation, but I do think it's just uh, people like me and people like myself who just don't get along, you know what I mean? um but yeah, I think that's cool. People can have a good time. What else can I talk about? I think for that section maybe I'll call it attempts at self improvement or something. Maybe I don't know. I don't know. I don't know, honey. Spaghetti, as you say. Um. Oh, we can talk about me. Oh wait, no, not me. Let's talk about something else. Let's talk about the absolute hatred I have for the repetitiveness of the world. You know, I got depressed lately. Maybe not too lately. We'll talk about. We'll also talk about me and my whole phone issue soon enough. But um, I've been dealing with this one thought in my head, and it's just seeing how there's repetition in this world, and it makes me angry. You know, there's so much genuine dislike I have. How there is so much repetition. What I mean by that, of course, is that there are some events in life where I feel like they just repeat. Like I feel like when I was younger, I was very much against the world. You know, I want to, you know, make my own claim, my own stake, and all that. My opinion is correct. Everyone else kind of just stupid compared to me, right? Um, and I've had people that I talk to, people in the past, and you know, people that I still know to this very day. They're like, you know, they they tell me, oh well, yeah, when you grow up, you'll understand that it ain't like that, right? And I hate that. I can't remember exactly what the phrase is. Think it's something like, "Oh yeah, I remember when I was like that." Like, you don't remember anything. You don't know who I am. Fuck you, bro. Right? And I'm like, yeah, these people are dumb for thinking they can understand me and how I do things. And then there's like younger people I know, right? And they do the exact same thing as me as when I was young. I want to be like, hey, yeah, that ain't how it's gonna end up. And I stop myself. What is this? You know, I don't know if I'm making any sense, but basically it's like this. It's like this. Okay. I grew up, right? People told me, oh, it's going to be different when you're older. I know because I was once young like you, right? I say, fuff you, bro. You suck. I hate you. die. Because I want to be cool without people thinking they know the future and all that, right? But the issue is that I grew up, those people were right. Now I look back, or I look at the younger people in my life, and I see exactly what those people were talking about. The older people, of course. And it just makes me disgusted. It's it's like what is it? Destiny. I hate destiny. If your name is Destiny and you're a woman, die. You know, no, but um, I don't like the thought of destiny that things are preordained. You know, you are destined for this one outcome, and that is all you will ever have. You know, I understand that life as a human can be futile in any attempt to change it or to be different from others and all that. I understand that, but I don't ever want to be told that the control or direction in life is, you know, it is controlled. You are part of a river. You will go down the same pathway as all the others. You know what I mean? Maybe it's my whole thing of wanting to be original, quote unquote, or being special, I suppose. But there is something disgusting about destiny, and that, you know, that's just how it is. It feels like, what's the point of living? It's kind of like free will in a way. A lot of people argue what is free will and all that. You know, and the honest truth, if anyone is out there wondering, I wonder what free will actually is. Do I have free will? The answer is always yes. Okay, it's always yes, or it's always no. Okay, and I know that's like, well, thanks a lot, butthole. That didn't really help me with my whole issue of if destiny is true or not. But it's a matter of belief. It's a matter of what you wish to believe in. Do you believe you have control over your own life? No, then destiny is real. Do you believe you have control over your own life? Yes, I do. Well, then destiny is not real. It's simple as that. Simple as that. That's another thing as well. Um, the whole destiny thing. It's kind of like religion. It's kind of like the thought of it. I was talking with Retro in a Discord call, and he was telling me about how he's deeply affected by. Um, I think he also kind of has that struggle with destiny and not being able to control it. I am like, I understand for me that I cannot control everything in my life. But to say it is preordained or that it is destined, that makes me disgusted. That's the part that gets me. Being like, oh, well, it was meant to happen, or it was going to happen. Like, I understand death is part of life, but don't be like, oh, well, it was preordained. It was fate for that person to die. Like, no, no shit, dude. What are you talking about? Really? You're gonna be like, oh, it was preordained for that person to die. They were meant to die on that day. Shut up. Shut up. But Retro was actually talking about that. He's talking about how, like, I think he feels gypped, or like he was kind of robbed, I suppose, of a lot of stuff, like not being able to control the outcome of something, you know? And maybe that's, I truly think it's a state of mind. That's the real issue, you know? For me, where I view everything is, you know, there's nothing really that is fated, nothing is concrete, you know. I don't have to think the way I do. I don't have to be the way I am, Things are changeable, right? In fact, they're a lot more easier to change it than actual physical things or things that involve, actual change in like a physical kind of change. Mentally and emotionally, those things can always be changed. And you can do it by yourself or you can have someone help you, you know. But um I there's things that can't, like death is a physical thing, you know. You are no longer living. That will happen one day. That will indeed happen to all of us one day. I suggest you get comfortable with the thought of no longer being alive, no longer being a thing anymore. Um, but he was also talking about that. He was talking about how his grandmother passed away. Um, and he feels like he could have done something to save her. There wasn't really anything he could do. I can't remember exactly how she died. I think she had some kind of bone cancer or something like that. And she couldn't get medical because she was a illegal immigrant, but she had been there for so many years. I think she did have a green card, but it expired. She didn't renew it, so when she needed the medical attention the most, she was denied, which absolutely feels unfair in the world. But he kind of talked about struggling with the idea of death as well, and um, you know, I think what a lot of people don't understand is that, you know, like this is kind of hard to get it out of my mouth because for me, I don't believe in this kind of stuff, but death or what happens afterwards or something else like that, that is truly, it's you. It's what you want, you know. No one knows exactly what happened. You can listen to other people, If someone says, "Oh, we go up into the clouds, it's all heavenly," or if someone says, "Oh, we are judged and we are reincarnated," you can listen to either of those ideas, but in the end there is only one true idea, and it is what you want it to be. you know if you have the influence, or if you truly do believe in the cause of, like, we'll just go with Christianity. If you truly do believe that you will go into heaven and all that, that is what you believe. you know Belief is very powerful, and you could believe anything. There's no telling what will happen to you, your soul at least, if you do have a soul. Um, but I basically told Retro that he should try that. He doesn't have to believe in just you know what everyone else is pushing, all the big religions. You can literally believe that maybe when you do have your final sleep, or when your eyes finally do close and you pass away, maybe you restart life, but in a different way. Maybe you go to a different point in time or something like that. There's no telling. It's what you want it to be. You know. I know this kind of sounds silly coming from me, but um, I think that's good advice. At least for me personally, I feel good when I hear something like that, even though I am comfortable with death. For me personally, you know, I feel like when you are dead, that is it. You no longer exist, Uh, and I guess in terms of your own reality, no one else exists anymore either, because you're just gone, But I think that's okay. I think it is all right to not be anything anymore, you know? It's and it's a very self-centered way of looking at it, because you know, you could always think of it as like, you know, how you see when other people die. Like, say, I'm pretty sure everyone who has watched has had a family member or something like that pass away, you know, and yet the whoever you are, you're still here, right? You are still uh experiencing everything. Maybe you even experienced their death, you know? So maybe there is also that. Like when you die, there is still the lasting impact of what you have done in life. But that's, you know, we get into very deep, very brain twisting kind of areas if we go into that. Like, I could say that, oh, well, don't you know, um, Bibble Babble. No. Um, but it could go even deeper into like, oh, well, everything isn't real, only what you perceive is real, so nothing matters anyways, lol. You know, I don't want to get into that because that's like the crazy area. Like I can understand it, but it is crazy to go that far down. You know what I mean? Um, so I'll just end it with like, just believe in what you wish. You know, hopefully it is something that aligns with what makes you feel good in life and what makes other people around you feel good as well. It's about making the best of your own life. Don't let other beliefs or ideas weigh you down. You know, don't let it make you struggle and squirm. You know, just because something confuses you. Anyways, let me take another drink of my water. There we go. So that's about two categories so far. What is it? Attempt at self improvement, fate, and death. Then I suppose I could end it here, but maybe we can keep it going. You know. My sleep schedule's kind of been a little fuffed lately. You know, it's actually been somewhat normal lately, and that's disgusting. Then I wake up on time to actually participate in the world rather than, you know, barely. No, but oh, I know what we can talk about, like a general kind of thing. Um, I I hate phones. Like I'm gonna be honest. I can't wait until I'm older. You know, especially if I'm in my elder years. Um, that way I can be very crotchety and very mean and very old towards phones. I hate it. It is so dumb and so very stupid how phones work. I don't know if it's because I'm on a PC, but there are so many things that just don't make sense to me. And I don't know why people are willing to do it, you know? This makes me so mad at the world. Maybe you can share that anger with the rest of you. So we'll start off with one thing. I'm basically stopping my 3D stuff because you know, I can't do it. I just can't. Okay, I can do two things not at the same time. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, but let me put it like this. Okay, console gamers. Okay. Listen, you probably, if you're on a PC, you already know where I'm going with this. All I had to say was console gamers. Console gamers. Um, okay. So listen, listen. Sorry, I had to do one more thing. Two more things. 1 second. One moment. Da, da, da. Yeah, okay. Sorry, I was trying to get a 3D model for one of the Civ characters because I really don't want to model her because it's gonna be a pain in my rectum to deal with this. Can I download that? Guess not. Maybe. There's this one guy who did it, but guess not. Anyways, I you know I think I know. I guess no. I guess that'll probably be it for like the end of the podcast. I think 2 categories is pretty good. Nothing too bad. You know what I mean? It's good spaghetti. Um, I think we did good. I think we did epic. I'll try and make the next one longer, but um, I probably got caught up with a too much bit of sleepy time. Usually, I got a lot more things to talk about. Um, I definitely feel a lot better. Uh, I feel good talking about all these things and being able to uh properly discuss them. Suppose. I mean, there's no pushback. There's no real interaction, I guess. But this makes me feel good. And I think that's what matters most is that sometimes you just have to feel good about how you are rather than worry about if you're doing it the correct way. I guess that's kind of something I've always struggled with. I guess the final thing we'll talk about, just a little short one, is that for me, I'm a very mechanical, analytical kind of person. If it doesn't really make sense, you know, I'll 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 complain about it, and it'll probably baffle me. It's kind of like how like there's some console players that I was a console player as you know myself once, so I'm technically allowed to speak upon it. But there was a time when I was a console player, uh, and you know, you're a console player or gamer, I suppose. Uh, you'll understand that you need to pay for the ability to play with other people online, right? And I guess when I was a kid, it made sense to do that because you get to meet a lot of people. You're just having a great time. You're having fun, all that. Um, but as an adult, I don't understand why some other adults will also just be okay with that. It doesn't make sense to me. Like, especially if you're already having to pay for internet, you know, and you're like, well, I guess I'll go ahead and pay an extra $15 to $20. At least that's how much it cost back when I was still playing on console. I guess I'll pay that much, just to be able to play with other people. Woo. um, oh, that's just crazy though to me. Like, that's nuts. But I guess that's kind of how it has to be. Some people are just okay with that. I'm sure I have my own things where I'm like, oh, well, hey, I do it this way. People are like, why you do it that way? What are you, stupid? No, but that's just crazy. Oh, one last thing. Okay, 111112233. One last thing to talk about before the end of the podcast. But I've been dealing with my own issues, right? My own issues in life. I almost put it as my one negative thing uh, that I have dealt with in life. It's phones. It's phones. I hate phones, dude. I hate them so. fuffin' much, bro. They make me so angry. Um, Phones, low tier phones are like $300, right? And I'm not really that good with money. Like I'm good with saving it, protecting it, maybe giving it a little kiss on the cheek and all that. But if you point out a glass bowl and you're like, go ahead and determine the price of that, I wouldn't know. I don't know the true price of things. I I would not be good at bargaining, selling, buying, all that kind of stuff. I'd just be like, well, it's in black and white. It says that, so I guess that's how it is. Um, but phones are horrible. I hate them so much. Um, so the low tier ones are like $200. Very very low tier ones are like 100, right? I have a pretty poop one, right? But the thing is that I've been in a bit of a scuffle lately. I wanted to change carriers and all that, but in doing so, I messed up a discount I have on another service, right? Um, and so I want to switch back to my other provider, my other carrier, right? Uh, it was less than 24 hours that I had been with the new carrier that I have, but I tried to go back and they're like, oh, well, the SIM card, you can't really just go back onto it. And I'm like, well, you know what? Okay, whatever, whatever, fine, you know. So I have to wait for a new SIM card to come so I can activate it and put it into my new phone, right? But say I want my phone number to be retransferred back, right? I have to call the people that I'm currently with, ask them for an account pin and or an account number and a pin transfer, right? Get that information, give it to the new carrier so that way they can get my number, right? It's like it's just so stupid, you know? It's just so dumb on how you have to do things in this world. Uh just got me really frustrated. Um and then the other thing, right? So I'm like, "Oh, well, you know what? Maybe I'll just buy a better phone, you know? It'll be good." Oh, I saw prepaid phones, right? There, if you go into like a Walmart or a Fred Meyer's or anything like that, you go into like the office, where like they'll exchange money or some other stuff like that. They got prepaid phones, right? And they aren't the best, right? But at least it's like, well, you know what? I can at least afford this. This is at least pretty good, right? But I looked it up, and they're locked to carriers. And I'm like, what the fuck does this even mean? Right? The only way to unlock those is to be in a contract with the carrier for a while or something like that. So you may get like a pretty good deal on a phone, but you have to be in a contract with the carrier for like a full year, possibly, right? And I'm like, what the heck? What is this? The other thing about it is that, at least for my thing, it has to be a GSM phone, right? And I'm like, what is this? Oh no, it just doesn't make sense to me. Why would everything be this complicated? I think they kind of want to make people frustrated with the world. It feels like there's no need to make it this like tism, you know what I mean? But that's why I hate phones. Some phones, like we were comparing computer specs on my Discord server, which, by the way, if you ever want to join my Discord server, uh you know we, maybe you can ask me if you want, or you can go to my Twitch and watch my Twitch streams a little bit, and then you can get enough points to buy an invite link or whatever. Or if you already know someone on it, and ask them for a free one. But anyways, sorry to get distracted there, but uh we were comparing PC specs and all that, and what I thought was a god tier computer is no longer a god tier computer. It's actually quite old and dated, right? I have DDR3 motherboard, which pretty bad, I guess. But um one of the people, Hitaru, he kind of summed up all the parts that I could get in order to improve my computer, right? And it came up to like $700. That's pretty crazy, right? All for like a newly improved computer that can probably do a whole lot more than what it could before. I think it had like a 3060 or something graphics card in it, right? Perfect, beautiful, baby. Absolutely majestic. It can do so much, right? It is my life, it is my blood. There's phones out there that cost like $1,000. Just a phone, you know? There's some there's some phones that cost like $600 and they're not even that good. You know? That's just crazy to me. Phones are like ridiculous. I don't know, they're just so stupid in the different ways that it's complicated. I will never in my life transfer to another carrier or try and get a new phone or anything like that for cheap. I just won't do it anymore. Phones are ridiculous. I would rather just not have a phone at all, but I kind of have to have one. You know? Maybe I don't know, maybe when my mom passes one day, maybe I'll, get rid of my phone or I'll get like a simple flip phone or something. I don't know, there's really just no purpose to how complicated it is. Um, but yeah, all right. I'll go ahead and end the podcast here. Um, maybe next time I'll make it closer to like an hour and 30 or something like that, but I think we did good. Um, I think everything's nice. I'm gonna go work on my thumbnail some more. You know, maybe I'll talk about Blender next time. I'll be like, let me tell you about Blender. Let me tell you about art and how I feel about it. Maybe I'll just use one of those websites that have like random question generator or something like that. But yeah, thanks for tuning in to Within the Flesh, episode 11.